But in any case, here we're gonna have Kobe versus How Play Game. Uh,
I like that name.
Ramlethal versus Eno. Now SQ, how do you feel about this matchup after the patch?
So
And
this matchup's kind of interesting because a lot of Ram players are kind of uncomfortable against Eno.
yes,
I do think Ram wins the matchup, but you have to actually fight Eno pretty differently from other characters. So it's a matter of like,
yes.
does this Ram player know what they have to be doing?
As I understand, Ram no longer has a button that hits both stroke and hover dash, right? If I recall correctly, in the first patch. Oh wow, going for an
Jumps a
early
command
grab.
So yeah, she doesn't have a button that hits both really. It's about picking and choosing what you think the Eno player is going to go for, or knowing when to disengage. Then
Exactly.
whenever you can, just get the corner pressure started, and then you don't have to worry about any of that.
Oh wow, and we're getting some dash cancel into 214k pressure here. That's going to be a wall break in the first game. That
Nice.
was that had a lot of ups and downs for both players, but Kobe manages to close out the first round. And I like that patient start from Kobe. The little walk back to avoid whatever Eno was going to do. Eno's range isn't really that good. Obviously, stroke the big tree could have caught her as it is a low, but you got to take your risks, right?
Right. Yeah, especially with Eno, in a matchup like this, Eno has to be willing to just kind of take risks because she's not going to win the fair and square game against Ram.
Yes, no, definitely not. And Ram is just a character whose pressure is way safer than pretty much anyone else in the cast. Definitely has to gamble a bit more, but obviously her reward is quite great as she gets to loop her insanely strong Okizeme.
Yeah, her strength is that she kind of forces you to take a risk. If you don't take risks, you're just going to get mixed up all day.
Yeah, exactly. Even for a character like Ram, who's normally used to being sort of more comfy in most matchups and running her game plan, having to change that way can be very difficult. But we're seeing some very nice footsies from Kobe, stopping outplay game from approaching. It's very important to keep Eno out.
Yeah, I think Kobe's just kind of putting up the wall and just saying like, this is your problem, and How Play Game is trying to figure out how to get around it, which is kind of how this matchup goes.
Exactly, yes.
Nice H-stroke.
And
ooh, H-stroke is minus now.
Yeah, you definitely have to be ready to press after stroke, whether it's S or H. Eno does not have frame advantage there, and you should be taking your turn back, especially if she doesn't have meter.
Yeah.
But this is really close right now. I really like the FDs there to avoid being chipped, but ends up getting, hit. And that's the thing, right? At that point, with the health advantage, it's no longer keeping Eno out. You all of a sudden have to approach his Ramlethal, and that's, even though her run speed is great, it's not exactly the best situation to be in.
Yeah. And another thing about this matchup too is that I think Eno obviously has like the stronger mix-ups and whatnot, but the thing Ram has going for her is that Ram's like outright damage is higher than Eno's, so
yeah,
Ram can make comebacks pretty effectively in this matchup. She just has to play neutral way differently than she would like to.
Yes,
because Ram, you usually don't want to be approaching the Eno player, so whenever you're forced to do that because of a life deficit, it can get pretty awkward if you're not accustomed to it.
of course, yes. Oh, and a bit of a mess up there. Probably meant to either delay the grab or do dust, actually, after the sword there. Oh, wow, and that was sort of a tricky empty low there. Goes behind for the low. This is just
nice block.
Your standard. Oh, and yeah.
Okay,
A
more chance.
desperation move, and then gets opened up by the low.
Yeah, I tried to super after Eno 6H, but unfortunately that's not a true punish, I'm pretty sure, so they're just looking for a special cancel at that point.
Yes.
Okay, nice pressure, gonna get the conversion.
Yep, this is big.
Goes for wall break, uses the super, massive damage.
Incredible damage for sure, yes. Could have gone for
It's gonna be the round.
Oh, yes, that's it. Well, that was just a two-touch round for sure.
Yeah, this is so back and forth.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely not free for either player. Oh, goes for the delay high, but Kobe ready to block it.
Oh, the gold burst.
And that's the thing, it is now, because stroke is no longer plus, it's harder for Ino to reset her pressure. So once you block the initial mix-up, you can definitely end up taking your turn back and then stopping that really difficult situation from spiraling.
Yep. Okay, Hot Play Game is in there. That should be death. That's gonna be 2-0. Yeah, I think a strength of Ino as a character is that you can answer a lot of her things, but she's the type of character that gets played so fast that it's more of a question of like, are you going to be ready to answer the things?
Yeah,
even if like stroke is minus, if you're not really thinking about it, if you're not active enough, then is it really that minus? It's that type of thing.
Exactly. It's plus in the Ino player's mind.
Okay, more mix up.
Here goes for the low once again.
Break the wall. It's not going to kill, but
a lot of the time when Ino players go for note Oki and they choose to go low, sometimes you have enough time to actually throw them out of it, as opposed to the high. But obviously that's slightly dependent on the Ino player messing up.
And unfortunately, Koby forced to burn all of their meters, so it's going to be a pretty honest comeback, as honest as a Ram comeback can be, at least.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was looking good up until then. Manages to force the burst. That's very good. Oh, but yeah, as soon as you block that note, you're in serious trouble.
At least I got the burst, but this is going to be a hard one. This is a Hot Play Game on match point.
Yeah. Might just run away with the set.
Even though the rounds have been close, that's not what matters at the end of the day. You got to close them out.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, Koby on defense. Opened up.
Goes low
super
again.
might kill. Very nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was
a perfect.
Hot Play Game making a statement.